Howdy folks, today we're doing front bearings on a 2016 Kia. I know this looks a little funny standing here. This is a jig for me figuring out where this rim is bent so I can straighten it. So you can see we got a bad wheel bearing on the front of this thing. Now over here is the entire strut assembly. This is again a 2016 Kia Cadenza. And when you call for this part, they're going to want to sell you like a spindle kit, which doesn't make any sense because it's a front-wheel drive car. Front-wheel drive cars don't use spindles. That's a spindle right there. That's a trailer spindle. You notice there's no way for a CV axle to go through the center of that. So spindle's the wrong term. They use a hub. But so does anything with a unit bearing. This is a unit bearing. That's a hub. That's a flange with a hub on it. Now, that's not what's on the front of the 2016 model. In 2017, they went to a unit bearing. This is the knuckle. There's your strut and your spring. Here's your knuckle. Here's your lower ball joint. Pretty cool on these cars. There's 4 bolts. You can pull the ball joint without separating this so that you don't tear the rubber boot. I actually do like this design. And that's a brand new ball joint I changed not long ago. So I don't want to jack up that boot. But you'll notice that there's no bolt holes for the flange of a unit bearing. This takes an actual cartridge bearing. Okay. So this knuckle has just got a counter bore, a register that you press a double roller cartridge bearing into, and then you insert a snap ring to retain it. Now that's the old race right there, and this is the exploded bearing, and here's your hub. Rock Auto lists several unit bearings in the 2016 catalog as front, and I had ordered one, and I get it here, and then I take the car apart and I say, wait a minute, this ain't a unit bearing, this is a hub style cartridge bearing. So I had to send that back. The 2017 went to that style in the front. 2016 used this. Now, there's no good way to rig this up in a press to get it apart, because anywhere that you place the blocks to hold the thing, you're going to break this backing plate, this dust shield. And you cannot access the fasteners to remove the dust shield. You can't remove the dust shield until you remove the hub. And if you're trying to rig this thing up to press out the hub, you know, if you were to put wood blocks here and here, you'd bend that all up. So it's just kind of dumb. And it's not level in height or anything like that. How to get the actual hub out is pretty straightforward. Just put a driver right there on the back side and start smashing. That will come right out. I mean, don't smash your thumb like I did, but you can knock that hub right out. The only downside is when it comes out, it's going to take the bearing apart, and then you're going to have this stuck on there, and there's no easy way to get it because there's not enough flange lip to grab onto with a scissor. Not scissor. You're not going to be able to get it out because there's not enough lip for a saucer puller to pull that off with. So I heated it, beat on it, air chiseled it. This is soft, so when you air chisel, you're going to accidentally nick that surface all up. That's not good. So I ended up gouging it off with the torch, real gentle. You know, just getting it red and then pss, 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 with the oxygen to blow away the lava, and then quench it and knock it off. It would have been a lot faster for me to just buy this hub assembly. So when you buy the replacement parts, you can get just the bearing for about 50 bucks, or on Rock Auto for, well, actually, there's a lot of variety from $30 to $150. If you go to the dealer, they'll want $300. So if you can get the hub with the bearing and the snap ring, that's the fastest way, because then you can beat the old parts out and toss them. You don't have to spend 2 hours trying to get this inner race off of that hub. Now, the way to get this bearing out of that knuckle, in my opinion, is to add some weld in there. So when you weld, and it doesn't matter whether you go vertical or around, I did it in 4 spots. Probably could have put more, but I was maybe being a little cheap. When you put that weld on there, when that lava turns back to gray, it shrinks. So it actually contracts your part a little bit. I suppose going around circumferentially would have been a little more effective, but the point is that it pulls that in. And then you can just use a driver like that, or even one of these, just kind of hook it corner for corner. I use this thing. It's my generic beater. So once that shrinks, same thing with valve seats in a cylinder head. When you got to change out valve seats, you just weld around them. If you really wanted to, you could weld a piece of junk across, and then you could smash the piece of junk. However you got to do it. It's pretty straightforward. And then I'm going to save that for whenever I have to do bearings on this car again. That's the perfect driver. for the future. And the rest of it's really straightforward. To press in that other bearing, you know, you got a nice flat surface there, so you just put it on your press plate. You use the old bearing shell, and that will match up perfectly to drive in your new bearing, only touching the outside so you won't Brunel your races up and crush the ball rollers in there. So you just put a flat plate, maybe a spacer block on your flat plate or whatever it is. Press that in until it firms up, and then you're done. Set your snap ring, flip it over, and press that side in. But of course, you gotta block that up, which is a little bit of a wonky thing. You could use some threaded rod and pull it together with like a draw bolt type of system. Just know that you're gonna scatter that bearing. I'm pretty sure it would be bad for the new bearing if you got it cocked in there and then had to beat it out with a hammer. I think that it would damage the new bearing. So you want to be real careful on your alignment when you drive it back in. It was a bit of a pain to mock up one-handed. The way I did this was to put a spacer to press the knuckle down onto the hub using the old bearing and a couple pieces of junk. Once it lined up, it went real easy. Now the trick to getting this snap ring in is, I mean, I tried making a set of Chinese welding pliers into a little hook grabber, and it grabbed in there nicely, but I could not squeeze hard enough to compress that clip. And then I noticed that the way that they cast this, which I will give some credit where it's due, they cast this into a nice ramp where you can just lay that snap ring in, take your old bearing. If you were to press that down or beat on it just right, the whole thing will compress and then drop into the bottom. So that's how you do that. It's not too hard once you got it figured out.